Chag Sameach, Shana Tova, and Gamar Chatima Tova. I wasn't planning on sending anything today, but a friend of mine reached out and asked if I was, had any stories pertaining to Rosh HaShanah. And so I listened to a shir, and it actually reminded me of a story that I think is very applicable. I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly if it's a Baal Shem Tov story, but it feels similar. It's a mashal at the very least. We'll begin with the shir that I listened. The shir was from Rav Pinson, and he's explaining how on Rosh Hashanah the books are opened, and we say to people you should be written and sealed in the book of life, because there's the book of life and the book of death. And so he says we need to understand what are these books. What is the book of life and what is the book of death? And we know from the Gemara and Brachos that Moshe Rabbeinu asked this question to Hashem. He says, why is it that the righteous suffer and the wicked prosper? And we know that, sometimes you see a wicked person who could live a very long life and a righteous person who dies at a very young age, And we see this with the Arizal, Baal Shem Tov, these very righteous tzaddikim. And so he answers that sometimes a person can be alive, but it's as though they're dead. They're coasting through life, never really doing anything. And one of the most regretful feelings that people express at the end of their lives is that they don't feel they've really accomplished what they were brought here to do. And so the story goes like this: that there's a man who went to a certain forest and he found a stream and he was fishing. But he noticed how all the fish were swimming right past his line. None of them were taking his bait, not even a nibble. And then there's this man walking through the forest and he sees him fishing. So he says, "Oh, hi, how's it going? Are you catching anything?" And he says, "No, I'm not catching a thing. It's crazy, but these fish are, not hungry. They're not taking even a nibble." And he looks at the water and he says, "Oh, well, these fish are all dead." He said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Yeah, this water must be poisoned from upstream. Can't you see?" And he looks in the water and he sees all the fish are just floating past his line, not swimming. So he says, "Come, let me take you to a different stream." He takes him to a different place, and all the fish in this stream are swimming upstream. He says, "You see, these fish are alive." The idea in the story is that to be alive means to face challenges, to constantly push yourself, to swim upstream and to aspire to go higher and higher. To be walking through life as though you're dead means that you're floating downstream, going with the flow, never really accomplishing anything, but just going wherever the wind blows you. I used to be very into this idea, but you have to push yourself in life. You have to aspire to be greater. So B'ezrat Hashem, this Rosh Hashanah, we should all be written and sealed in the book of life. And we should all aspire to push ourselves in many, many different ways to reach higher and to reach higher and higher places. Chag Sameach.